Good. Okay, perfect. Thank you. So the time is 5:02. We'll call the meeting to order. Just as a reminder that this meeting is being broadcasted and recorded. Recordings will be made available on the town's YouTube channel to watch at any time. I will remind the committee if there's a declaration of community interest to declare it at that time. I don't believe we have anything under delegations. So I'll move to the adoption of the committee meeting minutes. We've got a motion. I'll read the motion first, then I'll ask for a mover or seconder. That the minutes be adopted by the Plympton-Wyoming Environmental Services Committee, and that those confidential minutes of the closed session of the committee remain confidential and restricted from public disclosure in accordance with the exemptions provided in the Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act. And that's for our meeting minutes of November 2nd, 2023. So just to start, can I get someone to move that? Mayor Atkinson, seconder. So is there any questions about those minutes? I'll start on my left with Mr. Lovett.
No, I don't believe so, sir.
Over here.
The question to it, or rather, the next item of business under rising from the previous meeting.
Sure. If you're comfortable with passing the minutes as they are. Okay. So I don't think Paul's joined us yet, so I'll call for the vote to bring the minutes. All in favor? It's carried. So we'll move to section 5, business arising from previous minutes. I'll start with Mayor Atkinson.
Thank you. Just a question, did we get the drawings updated for the around the Muskoka Trail so that they're up to date? And I know we had some issues and they were dealt with well. I just want to make sure that the drawings that we have moving forward are current, and that there's no issues with that. And the second one, an update on Neptune. Where are we sitting with that? Because I understand there was a list, I should say, of some people that had meters in pits. Just can we get an update with that as well?
Certainly, through the chair. In regards to the drawings, now that the project is done, we'll be working with Jacobs to make sure that those as-built are updated and in the system correctly. I believe they also have service connection sheets for every property, but I would have to defer to them for comment on that. And on the Neptune, yeah, so what we're dealing with now is about a little over 300 properties that haven't been completed yet for various reasons. Mostly dealing with soft refusals. So people that have received the full gamut of 6 letters of correspondence and still haven't responded to us. And then the other major issue is the water meter pits. And a lot of them, we just simply don't know where they are. So it's going to take a lot of labor and staff effort to go out there and find them. So Josh Booth is working on a comprehensive list that has all the outstanding meters. We need to determine exactly how we want to tackle those, whether it's replacing meter pits, digging them up to have the meters actually replaced. In some cases, we may actually want to eliminate the meter pits and put the meter inside the house, which would involve the use of a certified plumber. So we're just trying to come up with a plan on how to tackle all of these outstanding issues, and then we'll provide an update to the committee on how we plan to do so.
I'll hold off asking anything further till I get a report back from you then, Mr. De Silva. Thank you.
Any for you? No.
Just a follow-up question on Paul's comments there. You said that you didn't really know where all the meter pits were. We do have a retired employee here would know where every one of those meter pits are. He has before, so it might be a question you might save yourself some time. Adam knows his name. I'm not going to mention any names here, but these fellas know what I'm talking about. He knows everything about that water system, so anyways, because he would probably had to go to him and either read them or repair them at one time. So that's a comment.
Anything from staff? No. So I'll move on to item 6, which is accounts. Again, I'll read the motion and then I'll ask for a mover and a seconder. that the accounts as listed be received by the Plympton-Wyoming Environmental Services Committee. That's for the water list of November 23, the sewer list for November 23, and water and sewer for December 2023. So first, we'll just move in seconded for discussion on the movement. Councilor Rolvet, Jeff. Any question? I'll start on my right. Any questions over here?
No questions.
I know we got the paper copy here, so.
Yeah, if I can go to November payables. There was a thing from Golding. Lakeshore Road, a 2-inch tapless saddle and main stop installation that was a little pricey. Was there a reason? Do we have an explanation for that?
Through the chair, if it was on Lakeshore Road, it was more, it's likely that it was a laws main. Okay, Mike Golding is a laws approved contract. So they only allow a few different contractors to do taps on their mains.
I see we're getting billed for stuff for the Wyoming Water Shop. Is that used regularly? For some utilities and stuff like that? Is it still operational, I guess, the question.
Through the chair, I believe the Wyoming Water, is that not the shop that we have here in Wyoming, that
The main shop?
the main shop?
So, okay.
It's still being used, yes.
I knew it would be as for the works department, but does the water have like a section that we dedicate to the water for the environmental, I guess, committee?
Yes, a section of that shop is dedicated to water. So we have replacement water meters in there, a bunch of materials for water main repairs. So yes, a section of the shop is dedicated to that.
All right, thank you.
Councilor Rolvet, anything?
I don't have any questions.
Still. Okay. No further discussion. I will call for the vote. All in favor? That's carried. We'll move on to staff reports. Section 7. A motion that the report by Paul De Silva, Director of Public Works, dated January 19th, 2024, regarding dedicated locator services for broadband projects be received as information. Can I have someone move that? Mayor Atkinson and then Jeff. I'll open that up or do you want to speak to this or anything before?
Yeah, I think that the couple of things I just want to highlight is that this is a program that we're required to enter into. It is legislated. So we didn't have a lot of choice. It mentions specifically in the legislation that we're not permitted to self-locate. So even if we wanted to perform all these locates ourselves, we're not permitted to. That's probably the major thing that I wanted to highlight out of there, and the potential for cost savings for us by having the dedicated locator service.
Through you, Mr. Chair, to Mr. De Silva, I see we're listed along with like 5 or 6 other municipalities. Are we cost sharing with them? Or is that the group where this organization is going to be working through? Like if we need them, they could come from one of these other ones, or they go to that area. How is that going to work?
So through the chair, the group that you're seeing is all the municipalities that are involved in this particular broadband project that are receiving a notification from the dedicated locator service.
Okay.
So there's no cost share involved because there's no cost to the municipality to take part in this program. So what's going to happen is the dedicated locator is going to be responsible for providing all locates for all of the broadband projects under Eastlink's project that you see attached.
Right.
That includes Enbridge, Hydro, Bell, Cogeco. They're providing 100% of all the locates for that project.
Okay. Good. Thank you for that information.
We're runner staff report 7.1. You have anything for that one?
I had no comment.
Roll that.
couple of comments on this, This is due to some new legislation that has come through recently talking about the town being responsible for other companies' employees and mistakes that they made, that we are just as liable as if they were our own employees. I talked about this at the last council meeting. So looking at this is very specifically talking about drawings may not be accurate. You may not be giving these locators accurate information. It looks like liability wise, we'll still hold a fair bit of responsibility. So my question is, they may be doing the locates, but do we have any oversight at all? These people like say you're doing a project, you depend on these guys that did the locates up that road for Broadbend. Are we still gonna oversee it and take a look and make sure it's correct on the project that we're doing? Or what's gonna happen there? We're just gonna leave it to these guys and that's it? I know it's kind of a goofy question, but some of the things we run into recently, we need to make sure that there's some kind of a double check there.
Yeah.
You know, like we're sending our engineer out to projects all over to make sure there's a bit of oversight there to make sure it's being done right, but in this one here, iffy.
Yeah, so through the chair, I actually think that's a great question. Liability is a huge concern when it comes to this. And the reality is, when we're doing a locate, it's only as good as the as-built information that we have. They plan on doing 8 kilometers worth of this fiber installation per week. It would be impossible for us to go and verify every single locate, not to mention the costs that would be associated. So I did have a little bit of in the body of the report, a little bit on the risk, because there is the potential for a bad locate with our information. We're in constant correspondence with the dedicated locator to ensure that when they come across a situation that where the drawings don't really correspond to what they're seeing in the field, that they call us immediately so that we can assist them in the process. I have had that conversation with Jacobs already. They are ready and willing to help out in those cases, but there may be an event where a water service or something of that nature does get broken.
So like, yes, like for instance, Jacobs here, like since they were doing locate, they may just, if you're questioning on something, you'd certainly go take a look and see what's going on here. Yeah, let's have a look. We got this draw. Okay. That's yeah, just kind of an oversight.
Mhm.
Okay, that's good. Fair enough. Thanks.
Any other questions before we receive that information? Call for the vote, all in favor? That's carried. Move on to 7.2. I'll be reading a motion that the report prepared by Paul Da Silva, Director of Public Works, dated January 22nd, 2024, regarding the annual contractual amendments to Articles D.1.1 and D.4 of the current operations, maintenance, and management services agreement with Jacobs be received, and that the proposed contract increase and base fee adjustment formula be endorsed and forwarded to council for final approval. So I know council members will recognize this report because it went to council first and then came back here. I will call for a mover first and a seconder just so we can open up the conversation. Want to move it? Seconder. So I will is there anything you want to add before we open up for council discussion?
No, I didn't have it.
I will start over with Councilor Beck. I don't think he'll probably have anything.
This went to the council first and I asked that it be moved back to committee level. More to give the committee an opportunity, not myself, but for the rest of the committee, if they had any comments. Because this stuff's supposed to go to committee level first. So I did do a little research and homework on a couple items in here, and I'm satisfied with what I've heard back from staff on the benefits or non-benefits of a couple of these changes. So I really don't have any issues with it myself, Mr. Chair. So I'm satisfied with the feedback I've got from our staff.
I'll move over to my right hand this side.
My only comment would be is, I don't like the fact that we have a contract that's tied to a CPI index that covers a lot of different variables. So I'd suggest that we look at doing something different from the renegotiations, but if it's a contractual agreement, then can't really say I have an issue with it, I guess.
Any further? Yeah, so-
No, I'm fine with it.
Right. And I do know that there's some municipalities that do separately, they set 2.5, 2.4. It's the contract we had in front of us and it's contractual. If there's no other questions, we'll call for the vote. All in favor? Carried. We'll move on to item 7.3, which is about the boil water advisory, cause and future mitigation. I'll start with the motion to bring it to the floor. That the report by Paul Da Silva, Director of Public Works, dated January 22nd, 2024, regarding boil water advisory cause and future mitigation be received as information. Can I get someone to move that? Jeff, a seconder? Counselor Wolbett? And I do believe Jacobs or someone wants to first or?
Yeah, so, through the chair, if I may, as kind of, good faith or, our way of paying for, the issue, Jacobs has decided not to, submit a invoice for any out of scope work this year that we've completed, which will probably far outweigh the cost of sort of the repairs that were done on Agramont Road. So that's just something we felt we could do for you guys, rather than trying to figure out who's paying for what.
Thank you. So I'll open up to any questions after that. I'll start my right this time. Is there anything I'm going to say?
No questions.
I have a few questions.
Go ahead, Paul.
Based for the malfunctioning pressure reducing valve, do we know what it was that caused the blockage?
And through the chair, they identified it as a clogged pedo tube. I'm not an expert in PRVs, but that was my understanding when Laws reported what the issue was.
It was just hard water, like
They,
I just don't know what would in a water main. What would be in a water main to cause a blockage in a valve?
yeah, so what they theorized is that because we have that additional PRV over on Fleming, that seems to be the one that's opening more often. And the one on Mandamin isn't doing as much work anymore. So that's the reason for the clog. I don't know if Jacobs has anything to add on that, whether they have any level of expertise with PRVs.
We usually hire contractor out to look at after the ones that we maintain for Plympton-Wyoming. But those tubes are like a 1/4 inch tube on there, so it doesn't take a lot to end up getting those plugged up, so. But you'd be surprised on what is
Fine.
in a water main.
And then are we confident that a yearly inspection for these valves would be sufficient to?
To the chair, if I may, yeah, so it's actually a requirement annually to have them checked. And that checks that we get done seem to, provide us with no issues, so. I think having it done annually is probably enough. If we have experience an issue again, we can look at having Laws increase that. But we have developed a way that we can actually test that PRV without actually involving Laws. So at any time we can go and test that pressure out there again, so hopefully that doesn't happen, so.
Nothing further.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First of all, that was a good report. Well, like Mr. De Silva before that, I think what we've experienced, we had a really good team of people that were on the ground and out there assisting and giving the information to our residents that we needed, not only when it happened, but also when it was over. And I commend them for that. Have we maybe this is for Mr. De Silva, but do we have any protocol in place that we can activate again if that ever happened, that we go like to a file folder, pull out, here's what we do, bang, bang, bang. Do we have that information readily available, or have we ever thought of doing something like that? Because I know we were pulling a lot of people at the last moment when this thing happened. It worked, but just moving forward, should we look at a protocol or procedure that we need for that?
Yeah, through the chair, I think that's a great idea, and it's something that we could probably include in our DWQMS plan as well, because it refers oftentimes to boil water advisories, but doesn't have a procedure necessarily when it comes to boil water advisories. So I can discuss that with Jacobs and bring something back.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I think it would just, moving forward, it gives the municipality some comfort level, probably, that if it did happen, then we move, away we go, we know what we're doing. Go ahead, Mr. Chair.
Councilor Levesque?
The only comments I'm gonna make is similar to the mayor's, this all, when things happened, I've only ever heard positive comments come back on how the town and Jacobs and everybody responded to this situation, and I mean, that's a good thing, and I think having something in writing, especially in the off hours, that somebody can just pick up a plan and say, hey, here's who's doing what. And the other thing is, I guess it's like any situation you get into, it's the learnings afterwards. You have your investigations or whatever you want to call it, and improve, try to make improvements. So you either do better or it doesn't happen the next time. So that's all I have.
Yeah, and I just have one quick question too, because I know there's something in there that there was a visual inspection of the PRV, which is now will be physical. So is Jacobs doing the physical testing on behalf of Laws, or Laws is just saying they're gonna do physical testing every year now?
So it's Laws that'll be doing the actual physical testing. It is their equipment, so.
So if there's no further questions from that report, I will call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried. We have nothing under section 8, so we'll move on to section 9, which is the Laws meeting minutes and reports. I have a motion that the minutes from the Laws meeting of November 30th, 2023 be received. If I can get someone to move that one. Councilor Wolvett and the seconder. Paul. Are there any questions, or Mayor Atkinson was there? I'm sure you can help answer any questions if there's any questions about those minutes.
I'll do my best.
Councilor Wolvett.
I don't know what kind of discussion took place with Laws, but I know the mayor has mentioned it before, but a discussion going on about a reorganization of Laws so that they would be able to apply for grants and stuff like that within the water system, but they would have to, and I'm not an expert on it, but create a board or reorganize somehow. Was there any talks? I know there's been talks taking place, but have they moved ahead on any of that?
I think the last that, if I may, Mr. Chair, through you to Councilor Wolvett, talks are ongoing. There is further discussion apparently with the legal aspect on how it would be set up at this time, and that's basically all that I can share with you at that, because we haven't heard anything different on that at this time. But it is moving forward, because it's the opportunity for this, whether you call it a board or corporation or whatever, they have the opportunity to go out with the money, which municipalities for this project, some of these projects can't do. So it would be a very, very good benefit to our municipality when that happens.
I guess the reason I asked the question is because it's like natural gas expansion, water expansion. We still have several areas within our community, Plympton-Wyoming, that do not have piped or fresh water. And an organization like that to expand, would allow them to borrow money to expand, or would allow them to apply for grants and stuff like that. So if we ever expand that system, which I'm hoping sometime that we can have our water everywhere in this municipality, as well as natural gas. So that's why I asked the questions. I think it's a good plan. So we'll just wait and see what happens. Thank you, sir.
I'll keep you posted. Thank you.
Any other questions about those minutes? Seeing none, so I'll call for the vote to receive those minutes. All in favor? Carried. We have no items under correspondence action required, so I'll move on to section 11. The motion that the correspondence related to recommended reading and routine approval and information items not otherwise addressed by resolution be noted as received by the Plympton-Wyoming Environmental Services Committee and filed accordingly. There's one item in there for the monthly report from Jacobs for November 2023. Can I move and second that? Mayor Atkinson. Any questions about that monthly report? I left nothing.
I have no questions, sir.
All right.
No questions. No questions, just a comment. I think with the amount of moisture that we had in that time period, things seemed to work quite well. No major issues, so yeah, kudos. That's good.
Thank you.
Nothing further, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? That's carried. Move on to item 12, which is new business. Anything from you, Councilor Wolvet?
I have one item. My water bill.
You gotta pay it.
Pardon?
You gotta pay it.
Do I? I think I do. I actually have to pay a little more. What handed me my water bill the other day, I looked at it and I thought, it looks fairly normal, but when I got looking at it, I thought something isn't right here because the numbers, the reading on there, they give you readings and they might give you 5 readings for each month, a year ago. And my readings always were, let's say, meter reading 3850 and my consumption 33. Well, this bill, the meter reading was like 0. Consumption was like a 2 the one month. And the next month, same thing, the consumption with the 3. That was, you can't, if 0 and 3, your bill would be almost 0, but my bill was still like $162. So then I went to see the staff here and they, oh, you got one of those bills. Yeah, we got some people are having same problem with the bill. So then when they looked up, she looked up my history and everything else. She said, well, yeah, your next one's going to be higher than this one because it's missing a digit off of those numbers. I don't know how that happened, whether it's to do with the meter reading or whether it's to do here on the computer. I don't know the answer to that. But all I'm bringing it up here tonight for make people aware that you better take a look at your water bills and look at those readings because if you're getting 0, you're going to have to play catch up. So the question to me was, do you want us to rip up that bill and send you a new one with the increased amount? And I said, no, just pay it. And then the next time, give me the increase. It might only be 40 or 50 bucks, but I think we just need to be aware that you better take a look at your bills. I don't know how many of them, but a statement was made that, oh, you're one of those. So who's going to look into it? But people get awful shocked when they get their next bill and it's next to $100. You have the phone be ringing off your hook. So.
To the chair, I wasn't aware of that issue. So
And
I could talk to our staff about it.
well, and you wouldn't have been because I just brought it to the attention of the staff yesterday. So, but the statement that made, oh, you're one of those tells me there's other people's.
So finance has been in with Tech, and they did do uploading of some kind of a new, you know what it's called? Little programs that they put in to help fix that. So the digits now will appear, right? So you were out testing today?
Yeah, we were out testing today, through the chair. Christine and I were out testing today and the problem has been rectified.
So that,
An issue between, sorry. It was an issue between it going from Neptune, the new system, into Tech. The digits just got wonky that way, but it's been rectified.
so would that be impacting anyone who has had the meter updated?
Yes, so the usage may not have got billed.
Yeah.
So the usage will appear on your next bill. So the usage is always, it's billed separately anyway, so.
Yeah.
It's just your next bill is gonna be higher.
Are we, maybe we can include an explanation or something in that bill just to try to prevent the phone from ringing off the hook.
We could, yes.
So was there a lot of bill, like, anybody had their meter replaced or just some?
Anybody who had their meter replaced.
So that's quite a number. What was that, 300 or? No, it was 300 to go or what?
It's more than that.
3,000, so,
3,000 done.
yeah, so.
A lot of phone calls.
That, their bill's gonna go higher next time, they're gonna wanna know why, so, okay, I'm glad I brought that. Okay.
Bring it up, let's go. I repeat. Anything on this side?
I'm just sympathetic to Councillor Wolvet. We'll hear about it for a while.
And the reason my bill, just to explain, why was your bill still $162 is because minimum charge, just my wife and I, right? So it's that extra that it didn't pick up on, so.
I have nothing, Mr. Chair.
I just have one thing, and I'm sure Mr. DeSilva was already aware of it, but there is a Q&A session and a webinar for the new Housing Enabling Water Systems Fund on February 7th, so hopeful that we're gonna be in a good position to put something in for that fund.
It's through you. I can provide an update on that. I attended the first webinar. I plan on attending the second webinar. Working with Jacobs to identify a priority project for that funding.
Perfect. And that's all I had. Anything from new business? So we have nothing in closed. So I got one last motion here. That the Plympton-Wyoming Environmental Services Committee regular meeting be adjourned until the next regular meeting to be held March 7th, 2024 at 5 p.m. So I want to move that one. Seconder, Bob. All in favor? Carries. Thank you, everybody, and